Hey, how's it going? So over the weekend, we made this mungo pot of homemade chili. We picked the rest of the stuff from the garden, ground up the tomatoes, and then used the juice to that to make our chili. I didn't realize that we didn't have any saltine crackers. So I asked David to stop at the store on the way home and grab a box. So he messaged and he's like, I can't find them. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. They've got to be in there. You know, look for the store brand, whatever. He couldn't find anything. And so then he messaged me back and he's like, oh, I found a box. He goes, but it's a big box. I'm like, what do you mean it's a big box? He says there's 12 sleeves in there. He brings it home, guys. And I'm like, what are we going to do with all of these? So if I leave them just in those containers, they're going to go stale. You know, they're good for a couple of months, but they are going to go stale. So let me show you how I preserve crackers and that kind of stuff to keep them longer than what the original package would do. So I use any size jar that you want. I have some in pint jars. You know, if we have less people we're feeding, you know, these jars work out great. Otherwise, I'll do some that are in the bigger jars. And all I do is I just take these out of here and I put them in the jar until they're full. So the jars are all filled. Now what I need to do is get them closed up. Let me take you guys to my oxygen absorber chart so I can show you, you know, what size I use for this and what size I use for this. So here's my cheat sheet, just real quick. I know these off the top of my head, but I thought I'd share. I'm using pint jars, so I need 100 cc oxygen absorbers. And I have quart jars that need 300 cc's. So let me take you to my drawers and I'll show you how I store those. The drawers in my little kitchenette here. And I kind of keep my oxygen absorbers from smallest to biggest. So 50s and 100s go in here for my smaller things. These are 200s and looks like just all 200s. 200s. 300s in here. And these are my 500s. I think I have got some 2000s in here too. These are typically for when I do gallon containers or 5-gallon buckets. Alright, so let's get out our 300s. There's a kit that has 3, 4, 5. And then I need 3 of the 100s. So I try to look, do I have any that are already open? Oh, there's perfect. So 3 right there. So here's what the indicator should look like, pink. This I pulled out of one of the kits. So just to show you that if you happen to find a blue one of these in your oxygen absorbers, these are no longer good. The oxygen absorbers would be no longer good, so I would just discard them. When I open these up, and then I only need to use 2 or 3 of them, when I'm done, I take this over. I've got a impulse sealer, so I would just push this in here, pop this down, and then it seals the edge. So these are good for another time. So what I do is I just open these up, try to work quickly. So I'm just going to make sure I've got lids on everything. And then I'm not sure if because these lids are smaller that they don't seem to keep these good for as long as I would like them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my FoodSaver. Alright, so to kind of back up what I'm doing, I'm going to just use one of my FoodSavers with the attachment piece on here. Plug into the largemouth attachment. Okay, so I put the lid on. Sometimes you have to put a second lid in here, like I said, because I think they're thinner. Let's see if it'll work. Alright, let's see if it... So it did seal up nice. You can see there's no spring back on there. Now, even though I have the oxygen absorber in there, and I've sucked the extra air out of there, I still want to take the precautionary measure to put these on here. We'll tighten these down after I get off of here. And the thing is if I'm going to take the time to package up my extra stuff, spend the money for the little oxygen absorber, and then suck the air out of here, it's not going to hurt me to put these lids on there to ensure that there's no lift. All right, so that's how it is. All right, so guys, we got all those put away. And this really ends up not being a real big deal, but I wasn't totally expecting him to bring home the huge whole family pack. So that's okay, because, you know, things are only going to go up higher in prices. So I guess I kind of look at this as a money-saving thing, because we're not going to lose any of these. You know, I've been able to put these up, and then they're going to last longer than the 3 or 4 months that they typically would if I were to leave them in the bags. All right? So if your husband brings you home a big old package of things, now you know how to put them up for long-term storage. The other thing is too, is look for sales, guys, because if you can catch these crackers on sale, put them up. They're only going to get more expensive from here on out. All right? So until next time, we're gone.